Good morning, everyone. Guys, we're going to talk about the cost of living in the United Kingdom and how, regardless to what anybody says in the media, things are only going to get worse. I'm going to try and simplify this as best I can. That's not to, that's because I know you guys are the smartest people on the internet. That's not to try and, be negative to anyone. I just want to put this in really plain text so that, when you're talking to people and when you're talking to politicians, if you do talk to politicians, that they can get it through their thick skulls what's actually happening in the United Kingdom. And it's not just the United Kingdom, I'd say it's the world in general. And when you get these things, when the world's in an absolute crisis as it is now, this is when you get these huge conflicts. Look back through history, there's always, famine always precedes a huge conflict. So let me just read you quickly and then I'll give commentary. So the Bank of England printed £412 billion in money to buy government debt between March 2020 and July 2021. To help pay for COVID support schemes. This was 99.5% of the total new debt issued by the government during this time. So we're just going to work on those figures, guys, and we're just going to talk about those figures. Obviously, subsequent years to that, there was more money printed and money kept being printed, and I would argue it's still being printed at an alarming rate now. Some economists believe that the Bank of England's money printing program contributed to double-digit inflation in the United Kingdom. They say that the program kept monetary policy too loose for too long, which may have led to higher inflation. Others say that the program created windfall gains for the rich, potentially at the expense of poorer people. And guys, when you create a lot of money, that's what always happens, because that money is then given to the people who need it the most. They then go and spend it in the shop, wherever they go and spend it, and eventually that filters up to the people who have the most. So although it sounds like a really good thing that the government are printing money and giving free money to people, it's actually catastrophic, and it is more long-term damage than short-term gains, because once that money's in the system, then inflation goes up. So you don't just pay back, the money you've borrowed, you pay back the money you've borrowed with interest. And once the prices go up, they don't come down. Just tell me, guys, when have prices for anything ever come down? When have the energy prices ever come down? When have our fuel prices ever come down? When have they'll go up they'll jump up 30 pence, and then there'll be a big protest, there'll be mass public outcry, and then they'll come down 10 pence, and we're all like, yeah, we've won. No, you've not won. It's still gone up 20 pence, and then they'll jump again, and then it'll come back down a little bit. But on a large enough time scale, these prices are just rocketing, guys. All right. So if I was explaining this to my daughter, I'd say, right, okay, if you go to the shop and if you 5 of your friends go, let's say 10 of your friends, it's easier. 10 of your school friends go to the shop and you've all got £1 each. And there's 10 bags of crisps. And those bags of crisps are £1 each, right? You've all got enough for 1 each, yeah? Simple. Okay, right. If I give you more money now, if I give you all £2, then there's still only 10 bags of crisps. But what that actually does is that makes the people put the price up to £2. So then you've not really done anything. All that happens is you inflate the people who are selling the crisps. So those people who are selling the crisps, instead of they being able to sell their product that they've got anyway for £1, which is what they've always sold it for, they're now getting double the money for it. You've not got anything else for your money. You, as the person buying the crisps, you haven't got anything extra. All you've done is given someone else more money for a product that was cheaper the day before. And that's the problem, guys, all right? The more money that's printed and the more money that's put into the system, these things just escalate and escalate. And the government's policy at the moment is kind of just to print more money. And this is happening all over the world. It's not just happening in the United Kingdom. This is happening all over. And when all these countries realize that their monetary policy has been an absolute failure in, the best thing that the government can do is nothing. And I know that's going to be difficult for some people to hear because, we're going to have these, we're going to have people saying, oh, but what about the elderly? What about the vulnerable? What about the, people who are starving? Okay, all you're doing when you print this amount of money, all you're doing is taking this little problem that you can deal with here and now. You can deal with it. You can sort it out. You're just making a bigger problem down the line. And the more money you keep printing, the more hardship you're going to have later on. That's why, and again, you can always follow the money. That's why these major conflicts that are brewing, that's why these things are inevitable. We keep spending and spending and spending when we don't have the money to spend. And it's called, what's it called? It's called modern monetary theory. And it's absolutely ridiculous. All it's making is the rich richer and the poor poorer. But when I say the poor poorer, I mean the poor are going to be poorer because they're going to have less money. They're also going to be poorer because they've got less money to spend it. Because the things are more expensive. Now this, on a wider range, and I've said this before, we're going to have that 7-prong, we're going to have that 7-prong slap in this winter coming. Well, let me see if I can remember it. We said we're going to have obviously the fuel prices, so petrol, diesel. We're going to have gas, electric prices rising, water prices rising, the stop on the winter fuel payments. We're going to have Christmas. And then if we have, I remember them. And then if we have a cold winter, we're going to have an absolute catastrophe. So all these things, when you look at all these things holistically, you can see the absolute carnage that's coming down the road. And then you're going to have people, you're going to have Joe Bloggs, who's worked at the same, he's worked at the same factory all his life. He's always paid his taxes. Joe can't afford to feed his family. Joe can't afford to buy Christmas presents. Joe can't afford to put heating on. But guess what? His taxes are going up and up and up and up. And people always love to find a scapegoat. People always love to point the finger at someone or something. That's the problem. The problem the taxes have gone up is because we've been printing so much money. There's no other reason for it, guys, okay? But people are going to look at the people in these hotels and they're going to say, hang on a minute. Those guys, I'm paying for those guys 3 meals a day when I can't have 3 meals a day. I'm paying for those guys to have their heating on 24/7. I can't have my heating on 24/7. And that's why you're going to get mass civil unrest. That's coming anyway, guys, all right? Now, what we've been talking about on this channel as well, we're going to have a food crisis. And we are. There's no way around it. This harvest, so round about now, when we should be harvesting all our wheat, all our crops basically that have grown in the United Kingdom, it's not happening because right at the beginning of the season, we had a really wet 18 months and farmers just couldn't plant anything because the fields were waterlogged. So that's going to come into the equation. We're going to have the energy crisis with Ukraine because the Ukrainian energy systems being absolutely obliterated by the Russians. So the Ukrainians, they're going to be needing energy from somewhere and they're going to have to get that from Europe. We are not energy sufficient in the United Kingdom. So we're going to need our energy as well in the winter if things do get cold. So guys, we're heading towards a situation now where at Christmas, this could be the worst Christmas in living memory. It really could, guys. I may be wrong, but I don't think I am. Look back through my videos. I hit these things pretty well. Now, what I'd suggest to anybody to do now, even though you think the prices are high now, even though you think things are expensive now, while you can, try and get your kids the Christmas presents, all right? Try and sort Christmas out now. Put it on a back burner because, guys, then at least you've got it. At least you don't need to worry about it, all right? Then try and get things that you can get now. If you can do extra shifts at work, if you can, if somebody's offering you overtime at work, guys, take it. Try and get as much money as you can Try and do as much work as you can. Really try and dig out from now until Christmas, because I think at Christmas there's going to be a lot of people laid off work. I think there's going to be a lot of people in poverty, and I think there's going to be mass civil disobedience. There's going to be riots, there's going to be more protests, and it's just going to be insane, guys. Honestly, it really is. Now, what was I going to say? I've totally forgot my last point, guys. Let me see if it's up here. No, it is not. Hang on. No, it's not. Anyway, guys, that is it. I'm going to leave it there, guys. It's a relatively short video, but don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. I really appreciate it when you do that, guys, and I try to answer each and every one of your comments if they're legible. Anyway, guys, I'm going to Mag to Grid. Try and get yourself sorted for this winter. And again, I may be wrong, but if I'm wrong, then at least you've got things sorted for winter. At least you guys are one step ahead. And it's always good to be one step ahead. It just takes a lot of anxiety off you. Guys, that's it. Like I said, I'm going to Mag to Grid, and I'll speak to you guys later.